So what does this mean for the future of the country? Joining me now is John Brandon. He's Associate Director of the Asia Foundation here in Washington. John, thanks for coming in. What does it mean, and are you surprised?
I'm not surprised. I was surprised that martial law was declared a little bit earlier, but they were doing this as to be able to preempt any violence because massive rallies from both sides of the country's political equation was supposed to take place. Now that they've declared, full military power and a coup, some people are probably happy that this has happened, anti-government protesters. People who have supporters of the most recent elected government are greatly disappointed, and probably a great number of Thais are very disappointed that this is a step back in the country's political development.
You say a step back. There's been a lot written about the coups in the country. I just lifted one headline from Time. Thailand, coups that helped shape the land of coups. How have the coups shaped the land of coups to this point, and how is this coup likely to shape the country moving forward, do you think?
Well, historically, a lot of the coups were basically one military faction overthrowing another military faction. This coup is different in that, at least initially, what they were trying to do was at least try to broker a compromise between the former government and anti-government protesters. They clearly weren't successful in doing that. And so now that they've taken over, how are they going to, what's the next step? It's been an intractable political situation. And so what are they going to be able to do? How to be able to get both sides to compromise so that they can move forward? And that is, those are questions that are really very unclear right now.
Well, that's interesting because I was talking to another analyst earlier this week, and he said the way forward is messy in Thailand, no matter what. And part of the point he made was that you have these sides, these various factions, they cannot cooperate, that everyone is so polarized. How do you turn that around?
It's a very good question. It will indeed be messy, and this is going to take a very long time. They suspended the Constitution. They didn't abrogate it. What I'm confused by, when they say that, well, we've suspended the Constitution, but they allow the Senate and the judiciary to still be able to function. Normally, when you've abrogated a constitution, those institutions don't function. And so I think that the military has been sending out not very clear messages. And how this is going to be resolved is going to take a lot. I mean, there's a lot at stake. There's an entrenched, established elite that doesn't want to, that wants to keep sort of like the traditional ways of power. And then there is a large, mostly rural population of individuals who, are better educated, or making more money, are much more aware of the world. And they want a greater voice in the political life of their country. And you can't say you blame them.
Where do you see this country a year from today, would you say, given what we've seen in just the last week or so?
Well, if you base it on what happened in 2006 when there was the last coup, the military said that they would put in a group of competent bureaucrats, which they did, by and large, most of it, and that they would have elections again, and they would do it within a year. They did it in 13 months. At the same time, it damaged Thailand's reputation internationally. And that's happened again. The United States came out with a very strong statement condemning this coup. My guess is that the government is going to try to name a group of people and then set elections. But you might be just having another vicious cycle, because if the elections are held and they're freely and fairly held, the Thai party, or some iteration of it, would most likely win. Maybe not with the commanding majority that they did in 2011, but they would still most likely have a majority or have the most number of seats in Parliament. So we may be looking at a year from now still, a vicious cycle that's taking place, and this may go on much longer than a year.
So the land of coups may remain the land of coups, I guess, in a sense.
Sadly, yes.
Really appreciated your insights.
Thank you very much.